Hello and welcome to the Film Vomit Podcast, an extension of the Vomit series of podcasts. As always, I'm your host, Mac Taylor, and today I'm joined by...
It is Cole Selby today.
And we are going to be talking about the 2019 film The Banana Splits, which is taking the 70s show, The Banana Splits, and turning it into a horror film. Cole, what were your initial thoughts on the film as a whole?
Initial thoughts. Very fun to watch. I really enjoyed watching it. The tone was always there for me. Like, they always had like these great kill scenes and then these tense moments, and then it's always just cut with like their like silly voice acting like of the characters. It's cut off for me, and then I'm clicked back into reality and I'm laughing.
Right, and I think that's what works about it for me, is that it knows what it is and just has fun with the concept. It doesn't try to be like overly serious or overly certain way. The only thing that's over the top is the gore, which is what this film should do, is be over the top with the gore. So without further ado, let's go ahead. Let's dive right into the plot itself and talk about little things within that. So in the beginning, we get basically a little clip of the Banana Split show proper, because before we go into this whole story, we need to see kind of what that looks like. So we see a clip of the show, and it has that really nice ripple transition.
Yeah. That transition, I took a note on that, like, just because I really wanted to talk about that. That was just a really awesome, really cool transition, that ripple from like the TV pan into the living room.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. And there's a couple of editing things we'll talk about later that I actually found that were really good. It's not filled to the brim with them, but definitely the people editing this had a little bit of fun playing around with it.
That, like, it really shows right at the beginning. It really catches you. And it's like, oh, and like it makes you want to pay attention to this movie. It's like, wow, that was cool. You have me.
Right. So then once we leave that television screen, we meet Beth, who is asleep and is awoken by her son, Harley, who is dressed as his favorite Banana Splits character, Snorky the elephant. And the other characters are Drooper the lion, Bingo the monkey, and Fleagle the beagle. I don't know why they all couldn't have rhymed, but I enjoy Fleagle. But his favorite is Snorky, and he's just creeping in the middle of the night in that costume. Not entirely sure. There's just something off about this kid the whole movie, though. Like, and we never really get an arc with him. He's in his own world.
Yeah, he's very samey the whole way through.
He doesn't learn any lessons really in this film. He doesn't have a growth really. Everyone else in the movie has more of an arc than he does, and I don't know. There's part of me that is okay with that, and there's part of me that, from a storytelling perspective, maybe wanted a little more out of this character, but he's not my a character I was captivated by, and there are others I was, so at the end it didn't matter to me as much.
At least Austin gets the girl in the end.
Yes. Well, even Beth has some arc. It doesn't really explain why, but she does. Paige in a way, and everyone has their little moments or whatever, but this kid, Harley, for the most of the movie just does really dumb shit, and nothing bad really happens to him in particular. And not once is when he's in these horror situations, is he actually really scared by what's going on.
Yeah, like he is so straight-faced.
Yes.
He
so calm about
he's stoic.
All this murder.
A stoic hero of a boy.
However, the plot, what gets the plot going is because of him, because it's his birthday, and his mom is taking him to see his favorite show, which is the Banana Splits. Why this show from the 70s is his is the shit to this kid.
And can I talk about how Mitch, the dad,
go ahead,
is just a total dick right off the get-go, right out the gate. I immediately said, I can't wait till he dies.
Yeah, he does. He's that dad who's very just removed from being a dad. Like, he's always doing his own thing. He's really judgy about his kid being the way he is.
Yeah, he hates the banana splits, but then takes like the fucking limelight.
Yes.
Like,
oh god. He's
like-
we
like-
got you tickets to the banana splits.
Yeah, like, oh jeez.
Such a douche. And then when he says thanks, Daddy, and he's like, yeah, we've talked about this. You're too old to call me Daddy. I'm like, I don't know how old Harley is. It never really said what age he is, but definitely not too big for that yet. That's something you organically grow out
I'm assuming this is why I'm assuming because Austin is 19, right?
Yes.
And the mom, what was her name again?
Beth.
Beth said that Mitch has raised him like a son for 11 years. And I'm guessing that Harley is not his biological son, so he must have been 1.
No, Harley is Mitch's son.
Is Mitch's biological son?
Because at one point Austin says like his dad's a dick, but I like him. So.
Yeah, so he could just be like 11 years old or 10 years old.
I'd say probably in that 9-10-year-old region.
Yeah. Like
so.
I definitely I really think that's kind of a normal.
Yeah.
Attitude for someone that young.
Saying daddy or whatever. Also, some kids never grow out of saying that. But it's something that organically happens. But he's like that guy who like writes it off or whatever.
Yeah, I get so heated about him.
And then also this movie does a good job of, and we have more examples later, but we set up, Austin gets him that extendo wand, which, first of all, super unsafe toy for children. It sounds super sharp and shoots out at an incredible level for a toy. But what good, and I've talked about this on other podcasts, what good writing does is that you set up something in Act 1 that comes into play in Act 3, right? You have to establish it typically in a very fun scene or very, just normal scene. And then later when the intense stuff happens, it's used. So we see that wand, which will come into play later. What bad writing does is when they introduce something and nothing fucking happens with it ever. So there's a couple examples of that kind of foreshadowing thing happening that we'll get into later. But this movie did do a good job on that side for sure.
Yeah, I kind of like that. I like that. I like how it came up. Honestly, it was like a release thing. Yeah.
So she puts creepy ass Harley back to bed and checks on Austin, who clearly just snuck back in the house.
Yeah.
Even though he's 19 and he has a point, like I shouldn't really have to have a curfew. Like I'm a legal adult.
Yeah.
But she's like that overbearing, protective mom type. And he also clearly establishes very early on that he hates his stepdad, Mitch, but it's kind of easy to see why he would hate Mitch.
Yeah. Well, like when he calls him by his first name, you immediately know there's something up.
Yeah. Mitch.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a dick name anyway.
Yeah.
And apparently we set up too, Harley's only friend, like his actual friend, is sick. So his mom just calls some random girl in his class to come along on this banana splits trip.
Yeah.
And which her name is Zoe, and she is probably one of the better of the kid actors in this movie.
Yeah.
And she clearly like doesn't give a shit about the show, doesn't really want to be there, but she's like, her mom's like, come on, like, have fun, just go do it, it's free.
Yeah.
And so she goes off to do that, but like I said, her acting is a lot better than the kid who played Harley's acting. But I also think part of that is the writing, though. I think his character is just written in a dry way. Yeah. But I think she's shown more. Everyone shines more than Harley in this movie.
Yeah, definitely.
And then while that's happening, Mitch is going to steal money, or Austin's going to steal money from Mitch's bedstand, and then like Mitch catches him, and he's like, if you just need money, just ask. And he's like, fine, can I have $20? And he's like, no.
Yeah.
Like, we really got to hammer home that he's a fucking asshole.
Yeah. And there's a definite reason for it, too. And it's called blue ball. That's what it is. That's what they're doing with him.
Right. But, like, his character just in general, like, we're really trying to hammer, like, fuck this guy.
Yeah.
So that when the things that happen to him later happen, like we really are like rooting for it. Because you always have to have that one character in the horror film that you want to see die.
Yeah.
That you're just like, and it should happen in just a grotesque way, right? There should be the money shot kill.
Yeah, and they make it just really easy too, so it's fun. Mm-hmm. It's great.
Let's see here. I always edit out the pauses, so it's okay if you take a little time.
I'm actually gonna give me some Wawa.
Yeah, go ahead.
Think about it.
I can pause. So then they go to the Banana Split studio, and like the security guard, like Harley's like, do you see the Banana Splits? He's like, I see them at night singing and laughing, and like Harley takes it as like, fuck yeah, but like the look on this guy's face is like terror, like he looks like a war vet that's talking about the past. I wanted more of this character. I did.
That was like all that he got.
Yeah, like later, and then a death scene later,
Yeah.
but with no dialogue. But like, I just wanted to see more of like he's kind of like the Crazy Ralph character from like the Friday the 13th. You always have to have that Harbor of Doom character,
Yeah.
and that really is most of his purpose in this film is to be like, there's something fishy going on here.
It's like it's reminding you, hey, it's a horror film.
Right. And it's delivered in such a fun, which Mitch shrugs it off. He's like, don't get his hopes up. He needs to understand reality.
Yeah.
He needs to get a job and pay bills. And the whole time Zoe's trying to act like she's a fan of the Banana Splits, and she clearly has not even really seen the show. Like, she has to like Harley's like, what's your favorite character? And she's like, the cat. And he's like, there is no cat. And Austin's like, Drooper the lion. That's what you meant.
Really, true. Like Zoe's a real trooper right now. Really trying. Like,
she is. She's genuinely trying to enjoy the day.
Yeah, and then a big applause to Austin for knowing everything about the Banana Splits because
makes the save. A couple of times he's very quick on his feet.
Yeah,
like when Mitch catches him with the money, he like pulls out a sock. He's like, I was looking for my other sock.
Yeah.
So he's smart.
Yeah, he really is.
Within this film. And then we meet Paige the Page.
Mm-hmm.
Who is this? She, most pages don't want to be pages, so like she's very much like, I hate my job, but this is necessary. I don't really know what her grand career scheme was, but she definitely is very like, I fucking hate this, but trying to put on a face. And we also meet the other characters besides the main family. So we get the dadager and his daughter, and he's just being the worst person ever. Like, don't chew on your hair. I paid $70 for it. Stand up straight. Be proper.
Yeah, like really, just kind of, like, I want to say like just bring coddling in a way, or really grooming.
It's the typical like parent manager character, what represents like the worst in society. And then we see the other end of the shitty end of society deal where we get two influencers who are, I guess, huge fans of this kid show, and they're there to try to like stream behind the scenes. And their names are Thad and Poppy, and their online handles are Mr. Thadtastic and Miss Popularity, which is even more than Mitch, I hated these characters the most because like there are people that are genuinely like this in the world.
They were quite obnoxious.
Yes, and that's a lot of like the typical social media influencers.
And it really wasn't like exaggerated in a way because people are like that in their.
Very tacky
blogs and whatever.
And obviously the pages are trying to take everybody's phone so they can't film the show, and Poppy hides her phone because Thad, he's like I literally told all my followers, all of them, that we were going to be streaming, and she's like, you can tell your 218 followers. Paige is also really quick on her feet and very, very witty. I enjoy her character a lot. And then we get Harley just fucking stands in the street waving at this car that's coming toward him and like doesn't move at all.
Yeah.
He just makes like a face like right before it stops. That's it. That's his only sense of danger in the whole film. But like, he couldn't have just waved from the sidewalk. He had to like get in the street.
He was just asking to get smacked by a car.
Yeah. And obviously Beth's like, what the fuck are you doing? It's a terrible idea.
And this is the first time we catch Mitch fucking texting on his phone.
Yeah, for work.
For work. Yes.
And he also makes the comment of like, she's like, your son almost got hit by the Banana Splits car, and he's like, that'd be an embarrassing way to die, which is a foreshadow of what's to come with Mitch's character. So it's another one of that setting things up for irony. And he's like, don't worry, Mom, Snorky couldn't hurt me. She's my favorite. But it's like, that's not how it works. Kid, just because something is your favorite doesn't mean it might not hit you with a vehicle if you're in the middle of the street. Let's see. And then Austin, while handing his phone over to Paige, goes, you can put your number in it if you want. And then there's like awkward silence, and he's like, that was really bad. I'm sorry. I don't know why I said that. I hate myself.
Like, it's just the self-pity is so strong. I felt myself kind of cringing a little bit in the seat. And I was looking at him, and I felt so bad for him. I'm like, why?
But like, she's clearly into him. Like, she gives him a little look, you know. Like, she's definitely, they're vibing. It's just he's super awkward. But that's like kind of a product of our generation, right?
Yeah.
Like super awkward interactions. But I really do like Austin's character a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Just a lot of his dialogue is really good. So the mechanic, which his name's Carl, we meet him, and he's giving a upgrade to the Banana Splits programming, because apparently they're essentially gigantic animatronics that actually are able to just like walk around and shit.
Yeah, which I think is like way better than just like people in a suit.
Yeah,
way cooler.
And this is like the other, because this is the same year that the Child's Play remake came out, and that also had AI going wrong, because it's definitely a product of the internet age. You know, everything is all technology these days, and there are bad sides potentially to that. You know,
like it's almost as if it's more realistic for that to happen than just four dudes just going around.
Four dudes in suits.
Yeah.
But how they accomplished the Banana Splits is they had, because they wanted them to look robotic in their movement, so they didn't just want to have normal actors. So they hired dancers to play the Banana Splits, because they're able to do the robotic movements a lot better and more organically. So all the non-stunt stuff with the splits is done by these four dancers in these costumes.
It's funny to say mechanical movements more organically a little.
That is a kind of a double negative.
But I get it. It's like, and that's really a really good move, because I remember that's what they did in the first Resident Evil movie that came out, with they actually hired dancers for the nurses.
Because they can do their whole thing is body motion.
Yeah,
it does make a lot of sense on paper, but it's not something I would initially just think of right off the bat.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was it. They're played really well. They do at certain points look like robotic movements. Especially there's a scene later where like Drooper goes to like give her a high five. That really did look. Which part of it's the sound effects that they add with it. It looked really mechanical. It was really good. So they're all setting up for the show, and anyone with gold stars on their tickets gets get a VIP meet and greet with the Banana Split robots, which I'm not entirely sure why that's super prevalent. You couldn't just take a picture on the way out, kind of thing. But the influencers get the stars, the Dadager duo get the stars, and that's it. So they only had 4.
Yeah.
Stars. Jeez. Harley's bummed that he didn't get it, but Austin goes off to try to work some magic.
Yeah, big trooper there.
Big trooper.
Just gives you more reason to love him.
So then we get kind of the show itself, right? Yeah. And we also meet my favorite character in the whole movie, Stevie. Who's like and ironically his name's Stevie because it's like the Steve character in Blue's Clues. Like this guy who definitely is in show business not to be a part of a kid's show, and like is very just hates these animatronics, hates this show, but is reluctantly been a part of it for I assume a long time. And like he's like, where is, because Drooper's still getting the AI put in, and he's like, where is it? And like, oh, just go and distract or whatever. And he rides out in this big tricycle with the child's clothing, and Mitch is like, is he dressed like a little boy? And then
Yeah,
he's
Harley's
like,
no one likes.
yeah, no one likes Stevie. And even when they said to meet the banana splits, and the one page is like, and Stevie. She's like, and Stevie. So he's very jealous of these robots that get his spotlight that he thinks he deserves. But Stevie's a great character.
Yeah.
And so we meet him, and Mitch goes to find Austin and also check on work while he's at it. We get the show proper, so we see like the sloppy time, which is definitely setting up for some stuff later, which is like this like double dare course.
Like you run through like this red goo.
Yeah, just like
stuff,
slime stuff.
Yeah, and like
getting pies hurled at you.
For one, that would already be like extremely dangerous. That's already dangerous.
Yeah, I mean you're definitely setting up for some kids getting hurt falling on this thing.
But they don't. How? I don't know.
And also, you still have to go and they get pies thrown at them, and they got to get a key, jump in a ball pit, and hit a hammer on a thing, and then that's and they always had the key lines like "It's time to fly," and he took it down to Hammer Town, and which the one voice actor does all the different banana splits. I can't remember his name, but he does a lot of voice acting, a lot of animated stuff. So he does a really good job too. They do sound like prevalent characters that would be in a children's show. He does a very good job with that. And then when they see Sloppy Time too, there's the dadager's like, that should have been you up there, and she's like, I don't want to get dirty.
Yeah.
And he's like, are you serious about this career? And it's like, no, a child is never serious about their career. They're a child, it's that kind of poking fun at the whole child actor concept. She clearly isn't into it, but her dad is like more pursuing the career than she is. So I did like that little piece of dichotomy there.
Yeah.
So backstage, Paige goes to find Stevie, and he's sweaty drunk, like super drunk. And he's like flirting with her, and he's like, that Paige uniform's really doing it for me.
And then pop in
Austin.
Our favorite little kid.
And he's like, I'm not signing autographs. And he's like, I'm here to talk to her. And then he's like,
he gets pissed, dude.
He's like, you tell that bitch Rebecca, I'll be there on cue, like always. Stevie is a gem.
He gets so mad.
I wanted more of his character too.
Yeah.
I could have used the whole thing about Stevie. If I was to act in this movie, that would be the character. I'd be interested in playing more, just because you can really just chew it up.
Yeah.
So Austin does the spiel of it's Harley's birthday. It'd be a real cool thing for him to meet the Splits, and Paige, of course, is into it. That does him the solid. So Austin really being solid big brother.
Yeah.
Doing the work.
Yeah.
Doing the Lord's work.
And then he got lost.
Yeah, then he got lost because he just followed her backstage, doesn't know the way around. So there's a more fun, kind of awkward flirting thing going on.
I bet it was mostly awkward silence.
Yeah, there was a lot of silence. And then while they're walking back, they run into Snorky. And this is the other really kind of interesting shot is the lighting is this green kind of lit, and the camera it's kind of like they do in Saw, how it just fucking fast goes up, someone's running with it. I really liked that shot, and he's like, do they always just walk around? She's like, no. And then they just go on about their day.
Yeah.
So what'd you think about that, Cole?
It definitely caught me a little bit off guard, a little creepy. I really did like the lighting. I did like the lighting. It was like that.
So then we meet the vice president of the newly appointed vice president of the network, who is deciding to pull the plug on the show, and the producer's like, "Why? We're a hit still." And he's like, "It's old and dumb, and I want something new and dark and edgy." And I'm like, "What are you trying to make on this old soundstage? Like Teen Wolf, in front of a live studio audience? I don't understand what they were going to use the sound things that are filmed for a live studio audience don't go dark and edgy, unless it's like a soap opera. But even then, that's not high quality television. Not entirely sure what the point of that was. I mean, I know for the plot of the movie, but as far as like from an actual business perspective, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, I think it was more or less for the joke, for the movie, because that would never really work, even if they could like produce 2 of those kinds of shows with the space, like they're gonna be bad. It doesn't matter.
And another cool thing with the studio and with all the sets and stuff is that obviously the actual Banana Splits was actually a show from the 70s. So they went for taking all the color schemes and patterns and things of the 70s and making them like really washed out, look like they've been around for a long time. So the colors are like faded and kind of just washed out. And I really dug the production design of it. I really did. I enjoyed that a lot. So while the news of the stuff's going around, Stevie finds out they're getting canned, and he's thrilled, even though it puts him out of a job, and not a lot of people are looking to hire someone that was on this show.
Yeah,
he's not gonna be like a hot commodity. Like we need Stevie on Fuller House. You know what I mean? Like that's not. Typically, did Steve from Blue Clues ever do anything after Blue's Clues?
He, you know what?
Or who took Steve's place? Who was the other guy? The one I hated because it wasn't Steve.
Oh crap! I forget.
Because there was a couple, but there was one right after. I can't remember his name, but I remember just being like, "You're not Steve."
I forget what he. I don't know.
Typically, if you're on this kind of show, you're not going to do something big. He's not going to be in fucking, Expendable 7.
Yeah, like he's acting like he's like a bigger.
So that's why I'm like, I don't know why he's so thrilled.
Yeah.
Because this should mean his career is over.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, he goes out on stage and he's kind of taunting. Believe it was Flegel. He taunts. No, it was Drooper.
Yeah.
Because he goes, go ahead and spin the wheel. It's your last time doing it. Yeah. And again, should not be that happy that this show he's on is about to end.
Yeah.
And Harley's like, it always ends on Rock Out. So, like, don't even worry about it. It's always going to end on Rock Out. Yeah. And it does. And we get this, like, very jerky... Because Stevie's super drunk. Yeah. When he goes to do it, so we get like this like
it's like a loose
trippy kind of jerky mode. It's like the camera's drunk with Stevie doing this like up close, and he's all sweaty drunk and dancing and singing. I loved that sequence. I don't know, what'd you think about that, Cole?
Oof, excuse me. It really did set in just how like manic he was about it. Like, it's a mixture of, like, obviously the copious amounts of alcohol he drank before getting on stage, and also, like, this extra high he's getting about the things that he hates are going to be, like, sold off.
Yeah. Because they talked about, like, stripping him down and selling him theme parks.
Like, so he is manic. He is, like, ready to go. He's, like... He's probably got an extreme hard-on right now.
Huge reaction.
Like, and the camera work really set in just like how out of it he was, and like he's just leaning like on the wall, on the window, just like can't move for a minute. And then he's just wobbling around, and then that's right after that. That's when he gets tripped, doesn't he?
Yeah, because Drooper like turns and knocks him over, and Harley's like, he would never hurt anyone on purpose, and Beth's like, yeah, of course he wouldn't. It's part of the show. And even though he clearly just fucking knocked him on his ass.
Yeah, like he doesn't get up until like everyone starts getting off, and he just like darts out.
Then we also see the VP's like in his, I don't know why he's in the office of this studio, of this giant place with all these studios. Why he stayed in this one to make his phone call was a weird choice. But he's like on the phone like, I own the network. I cancel this show anyway. Fuck everybody's emotions. I don't know why I made his voice like Doug Dimmadome, but that's where it went. So he's like, being normal bad guy, rich bad guy. And something happens to him. We see the cigar drop. It looks like he's murdered, but he comes back later, so he's still alive. But he's taken.
That was
And Liam Neeson can't save him.
Yeah, we were about almost a third into the movie.
Yeah.
And that's when the action really starts to...
Typically, Act 2 is when you pick up the murder. Which usually a lot of horror movies have that opening kill, but this one didn't because the plot had to move forward to get to where these things start killing people.
Yeah.
So Austin comes back with Mitch, and he's like, I found Mitch. And Mitch is like, no, I found him. Because they had to have that always at each other tension.
Yeah.
And Zoe's kind of starting to get into it. Like, she's dancing with the rock out stuff. Like, she's still not like, Harley is, but she's like, okay, whatever. I'll have a little bit of fun with it.
She's having a good time.
So then after the show, Paige tells Harley, like, of course the Banana Splits want to meet you on your birthday, which shitty birthday has turned out to be.
Yeah.
But actually, Harley's not fazed by it. This was a good birthday for him, I guess.
Yeah, he was oblivious to any anything.
No
bad
danger, no danger whatsoever.
He was just okay.
And Mitch is like, I'll catch up to you, and he goes for more work because he wasn't expecting to be there that long.
Yeah, and then we don't see him for a while.
No, we don't. Because then the dadager tries to get Paige to introduce him to the producer.
Yeah.
And he's like, I just know she'll know that this girl's a star. And Paige is like, I can't do that, dude. Sorry. Yeah. And he's like, well, I'll find the producer myself. And he just goes wandering around. And again, I don't understand what the thought process is here. Like, this girl is not talented. 2, you don't just walk into a producer's studio and they go, yes, you're it.
Yeah.
That's not how that works.
That if anything, that just puts a worse image.
Yeah, if you do that 9 times out of 10, you're just going to get thrown out and you're not even going to be seen. But even if they did, we're like, fine, show me your whatever. And then she did what she did. But, like, that's not going to sell it, right?
Yeah.
So I don't understand. And I know that's just for the point of this plotting. I know sometimes we go a little too deep in thought about it. But it's just like, I don't understand that thought process. Like, he'll just look at this average child and say, wow, we need that. For what? Exactly? Yeah. It just doesn't work like that. So it was, the whole time I'm like, I don't even know what this guy's doing. And so Stevie's backstage getting more drunk. I think he's drinking whiskey. It is a green bottle.
Yeah, I mean it
didn't look like a wine bottle.
No, it did not.
And earlier he was drinking something out of a glass. So it's either whiskey or it was cheap. It wasn't expensive. And he's like spitting on the splits and taunting them. And Drooper takes a giant lollipop and shoves it all the way down his throat. And spurts up blood everywhere and kills Stevie that way. And this is done with a decent practical effects. Yeah. Like they have a fake head that you can see when he's shoving it down. But then for the other effect, he's got a retainer with the pop attached to it, and they're just spewing fake blood. What do you think of this kill, Cole?
I was very satisfied about this one. Stevie, I liked him a lot, but I figured his time has come.
It makes sense to kill him early.
Yeah. I really did like how it was very snappy right after the off screen with the VP. Like it was only about 7 minutes right after that. So I was still like ready to go and I was still ready for it. I love the effects of it. I love how you can still see the lollipop imprint.
Yeah, how it's in his throat.
In his neck. That was super cool. The sounds really did it for me. That was they were really good sound effects. Yeah. With
this is probably one of the better looking, or one of the more memorable kills from this movie. That's probably the one that I'll mostly remember.
It really had a lot of screen time dedicated to it as well.
And it's the most creative.
Yeah. And I liked the him looking into the mirror and the lighting.
And they do that shot down his throat. They use an endo whatever camera to do that, and that really added to it too, because you see the lollipop's perspective.
Yeah.
And it's kind of neat there.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Oh, and then they go back to the tour, and Paige is trying to give the tour, and Thad's like, actually, it was based off of a a movie or something.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, it was a book. And he's like, actually, I'm a pretty big fan, so I would know. And it's like, let this girl do her job.
Like, for real. Like, no one cares if, like, you are right or wrong. That's not why they're there.
Like, for the first time I watched this, I visibly was like, God, you fucking dick.
Yeah.
Like, I was more ready for the influencers to die than I was anyone else, just because I'm like, that's such a dick move. So cringy. And then when him and Poppy are getting their pictures taken with the banana splits, he's like, what's this red stuff on Drooper? It must be strawberry from the pie. And he licks it, and he's like, that's not strawberry. And it's clearly blood from Stevie.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't know the taste of blood.
And he just keeps licking.
Yeah, and he just keeps going. But it's like, blood's got a very, like,
it's very
coppery taste.
Yeah, it's very metallic.
You notice that. You know, when you're tasting blood.
Like, and it has a very distinct smell to it too. Like, it smells very metallic. Like,
and this is even like goopy throat blood.
Yeah, like it's like.
So it's like, I don't understand how he's like, I don't know what that is. It's like, you really don't know what that is?
Has nothing bad ever happened to you? I've never got like a nosebleed or
You never like got to like cut your finger and
like your teeth fell out when you were a kid, right? Like
I just don't understand. I don't understand what the hell.
He still has his baby teeth.
But he has a rare disorder where he's kept his baby teeth.
Oof.
And Austin is also trying to get his mom to see how much Mitch sucks.
Yeah.
Because he's not there, and he's always on his phone for work.
Yeah.
And he's just a douchebag, and he doesn't care about Harley and that business.
And she's like, no, he cares about you. And it's like, oh yeah, but where is he though? Like, he's just like a real snappy. It's like slam dunk.
Boom, there it is.
Like,
and then she goes off to find him in his work.
Yeah. Right in the middle of his work.
Right in the middle. And then Harley and Zoe go up and they high-five Drooper and stuff. And he's like, where's Snorky? And Snorky is off doing creepy stuff in the Banana Splits mobile.
Yeah.
He didn't really have a name. The Banana Mobile. Banana Mobile. We'll go with that.
Banana Mobile.
The Banana Boat.
Banana Boat.
Banana Boat. There we go. Nailed it. And then, meanwhile, Beth catches Mitch sexting his assistant, and she's like, "You're such a cliche."
Yeah. And out comes Austin.
Yes. And Austin comes to her defense and then almost throws hands with Mitch because Mitch brought up his dead dad, which is something you don't do
pretty fucked
to somebody.
Yeah, saying he's just a
19-year-old burnout.
Burnout
was the term.
Mm-hmm.
And that you're glad your dad wasn't alive to see this. It's like, you motherfucker. I'd have thrown hands.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, he takes her away. They go off to just try to enjoy the rest of this day.
Yeah, Mitch just walks off.
And Mitch fucks off.
And then immediately gets back on his phone and calls up.
He's like, my night just freed up.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, you
little bitch.
Dickhead.
And
then you see Snorky being all creepy following him in the banana boat.
Yep.
Because Mitch's whole excuse in that fight's like, you never have time for me. I get needs.
Yeah.
You always pay attention to the kids. It's like, yeah, motherfucker,
duh.
that's your kid too. You should be paying attention too. Not everything is physical in a relationship.
Like, you're gonna pay attention to the kids first.
That's what happens when you have children. And you got with someone who already had one child. Of course they're gonna be a mom.
Yeah.
I got needs, and I'm a working man, and I need to be satisfied.
Do you guys not bang enough? like, is that the problem?
It's never enough for Mitch.
Like, I feel like you could just bring that up.
Yeah,
it's like, hey,
let's just bang it out.
Hey, I feel like we're not banging enough.
Yeah.
Something. I don't know if that would work, but it could be. It's a shot.
It's actually very simple to communicate.
Jesus.
But
Mitch, no one.
But instead, he sleeps with his assistant and just raging dick all the time.
No one likes you, Mitch.
No one.
Jesus.
Snorky
really doesn't like you.
No. So Snorky is chasing Mitch in the banana boat.
Yep.
But he's like running in like this corridor thing where like, if he just jumped on top of the concrete,
I was thinking about
couldn't get him.
I was thinking about that the entire time. I was seeing that like just all you have to do is just hop this.
Like
don't
run in a straight line either.
If you have the stamina to run this entire time,
jump up.
Yeah.
Jump at an angle. Now you're up there. Snorky has to get out of the car.
Yeah. Like, and then you can outrun.
You can probably outrun
Snorky.
it.
Yeah.
So I was just like, jump. But then in the next scene that it's chasing him, they're on an actual like road. But like in that scene, like it was like a trolley or something that would like a train track almost.
Yeah.
Like, you could have totally got out of there.
Yeah.
It's Mitch's fault. He's in this predicament for multiple reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get this build up to nothing where Harley's like, open the mailbox. And you're like, what's going to happen? Nothing happens.
Yeah.
She opens the mailbox. Nothing's there.
Yeah, it's just completely empty.
Which I get. They're trying to build suspense. Not everything leads up to something. You got to have some build up. But it just, I don't know. It just felt out of place with the tone of the rest of the film.
I was definitely like... I was out, like, it was around that time I was really definitely convinced that no kids were going to die in this movie.
Yeah, well, the banana splits are kidnapping the children to keep the show going. Because the whole thing is that Carl's big spiel is that the show must go on. So apparently their programming is getting them to where no matter what happens, they'll keep the show going.
Yeah.
But, like, wouldn't they just kill the vice president since he's the only one that wants the show canceled? And then he's dead. They won't cancel the show because no one else felt that way. Yeah. Like, again, I know we have to have a movie.
Yeah.
And if they do that, the movie doesn't happen.
Also, and, like, how did they end up killing every single person?
While also being backstage with the tour.
Yeah, and kidnapping all the kids.
Did
Carl help?
I don't know. I never really established that. But, like, because also, like, Snorky's chasing the dad.
Yeah.
The other ones are at the meet and greet and also doing other it's, like, impossible to do all that by themselves. That's really the only, like, glaring plot hole in this movie is that time-wise, they didn't have all that time. Because the people were supposed to go straight with the page right out to the parking lot and go home. But yet they killed all those people, took the kids, and still made it back in time for the meet and greet.
Yeah.
Like, what was that, like 10 minutes?
About, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like
this movie doesn't take place over a long period of time.
No, it's like
a
few hours.
Like it's already night before like a bunch of the stuff happens.
And it's still night when they're leaving.
So
yeah, that was like the only thing. I'm like, time-wise, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
So the dadager finds the producer who's like packing all of her shit because the show's canceled. And he's like, you need to see her. And he's like, do the thing. And she's singing like the Junk in the Trunk song.
Yeah.
Which, super creepy to have your, like, 12-year-old daughter singing.
Yeah.
She's like, that's disturbing and very dated. So please stop.
Yeah, I felt a little uncomfortable.
And he's like, she could do something else. And the show's canceled. So just get out of here.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I'll just find the VP guy. And it's like, again, what's your pitch?
Like at least they don't even stop him at that point. It's like just
let him go.
Like I mean, Paige doesn't care anymore because she's out of a job.
Right? She's had to chase him down this whole time too. It's like, fuck it, let him go. So the influencers find Fleagel's magic shop, which again is another cool looking set with the cards that like spiral out and stuff. They did a lot of, and it's fun because they got to shoot. Part of filmmaking when you're shooting on a soundstage is you have to make it look like it's not on a soundstage. So a lot of time is spent like framing. With this movie, since they're shooting the movie's about a soundstage, they can shoot the whole soundstage and all the cameras and stuff can be in the shot, and you don't have to worry about a setup as much as just the movie itself.
Yeah.
So like I had fun watching it, knowing that perspective, because they got to pull the curtain back a little bit.
Yeah. So it's like in this movie, like while filming, that could be a camera, that's in frame.
Like there was a few times.
And it's just like
or like that one guy operating a soundboard at one point. Like, you can show these things because there's a show within a show.
Yeah,
it's like cool. Back when we did Noises Off, like you're able to pull the curtain back, both literally and figuratively in that one, a little bit to show because it's a show about a show.
Yeah,
and you can have some
and it's a really neat perspective. Definitely.
So yeah, that's a little like just fun thing that when I watched the behind the scenes, they definitely enjoyed that part of it because you don't have to spend as much. Tedious time doing all these setups. Because sometimes it can be fucking. We filmed a movie, we know how that goes. So they're at the magic shop, and Thad does the most tacky thing anyone can ever do: is propose on a live stream. Now, I've proposed to someone before. Cole, you've proposed recently.
Yep.
You don't do it for an audience.
Yeah, like what I did. Like, I proposed on my couch.
Yeah.
I proposed on my couch because I wanted it to be between, me and
the person.
Yeah, me and my
I did it in a Steak and Shake parking lot.
Yeah.
But an empty Steak and Shake parking lot.
It's like I just feel like you don't put that kind of pressure on somebody.
Right. And especially with online.
Yeah.
Like, that's just so it's tacky and just doesn't really put a lot of stake in the relationship, right?
Yeah.
Because then if you break up, now that shit's public too.
Yeah, and it really shows that you're doing it not just
there's
for
a tension
them.
You want out of it.
Yeah.
Whereas if you you did on the cat, like that was just for you and her.
Yeah. Like it's more intimate that way.
Yes, and it should be. So
like that was just like. It's like, wow, great. I wonder what happens next.
Well, they're not engaged very long.
Yeah.
Because Flegel shows up and smashes their phone and shows Thad in the, where you saw the woman in half and makes Poppy saw him in half.
Yeah.
And then pulls the thing apart and his intestines fall out and he goes, ta-da!
Yeah, it was great.
That was I really liked that kill too.
Yeah. The effects were... They were pretty good.
Yeah,
I liked them.
They're practical made effects, and for handmade effects always look better than CGI, because CGI is supposed to be used for things you can't make, like a giant dragon.
Yeah.
You can like the Hobbit movies and shit.
Yeah.
You can use CGI for that. That makes sense. But we know how to make fake blood. We know how to make fake organs. Why would we use CGI?
Like it's the best because it's something you can interact with. It
physically
interacts
there.
naturally with its environment and with its lighting. And with the actors and it helps them
act.
Act
because they can see it
better.
Because when you're just acting on a green screen or with the person with the balls on them doing the mocap, it's hard to really
grasp it. I mean,
it takes a good actor
to
be able to still emote when you don't even know what the hell you're looking at.
Yeah.
Like Jurassic Park.
Or maybe not a better actor, but a different form of acting.
Okay, a different breed of acting. Yeah. Because obviously most people aren't meant to do those big epic CGI things, and that doesn't make them bad actors or actresses. It just means that's not their genre.
Definitely.
So yeah. Great gore, got the intestines, everything. It's all there was a fake body with all the stuff in it. Looked great.
Oh yeah, I love how she just kind of just chills there.
Yeah, she just holds his hand.
Yeah, just chills there for a while.
And has this, but unlike the kids in this movie, she's traumatized by what happened.
Yeah, she would actually represent what would happen to somebody going through.
She goes into shock essentially.
Yeah. And it continues through the rest as well.
Yeah, she kind of goes a little bonkers.
Yeah, it's great. Watching her.
She's the only person in this whole movie that really is affected by what happened.
Yeah, so, it's crazy. Even the other children, I feel like, aren't even they don't even think.
No, nobody really is scarred.
Yeah.
From this experience, except for Poppy.
Yeah, she is.
Oh, and then she also grasps at Flegel and reveals the robot arm, because that's the thing. Flegel's the only one that really has that happen to him. Is that you expose the robotics. It looks a little creepier that way when you do that. instead of
Yeah.
it being just the character.
I feel like they did that just because it probably took a lot of work to make that, and they didn't want to do that with maybe all of them.
Yeah, that and it helps the creep factor
Yeah.
a little.
He does become like a key.
Yeah, Fleagle is the main
Yeah,
one. Like Trooper is the first one that gets the stuff, the bad programming, but Fleagle is the one that has the most action.
Yeah, so like it makes sense for him to get
to
all
be
of
the
this.
exposed one.
Yeah.
Like the Mecha Godzilla moment, revealing the robotics. And then Fleagle goes to take Harley and Zoe to Snorky, which he's really just kidnapping them.
Yeah.
And they just follow him.
Wow.
A robot. They're just following down a hole. Harley, again, zero sense of danger or even question. This kid would be easily kidnapped.
Like Harley just looks at him just intently with his stoic eyes for a while, and then just shrugs his shoulders and walks up and grabs a little robot hand and just walks off with his freaking robot dog. No. Like, sure. No. Like, what was taught to this child?
Right?
Nothing.
Like, no stranger danger. Just like, this is fine.
He's the stoic hero of this story.
And then the Dadager goes to find the VP, but finds Drooper, who burns the fuck out of his face.
Yeah, which I thought was great.
That was fun.
Like, wow.
And he's dancing while his face is burning. That's fun. But the some of the flame effects were CG and didn't look that great in comparison to anything else.
Yeah, but once you get to
the burn makeup's prosthetics, but that fire, which I get. It's hard to find someone to do a burn stunt, and also you don't want to set someone's head on fire.
Yeah,
I get it.
Yeah.
I understand why they use CG. It just when it compare it to the actual practical effects, it's very glaringly CG, and it doesn't look that great.
Yeah.
Then Mitch is still running from Snorky, and finds the security guard from earlier. And like grabs him and his head falls off and the screaming.
That was great. And then he backs up screaming and then
gets hit by Snorky, which he said would be an embarrassing way to die. Yeah. And then he gets hit by by Snorky.
Which is, I think,
the thing is though, like they do this in horror films a lot, where they find a body and touch it, and a head falls off or something falls off, and it's like, just that doesn't happen.
Yeah, that really doesn't.
If you cut someone's head off, it would fall. Like it wouldn't just stand there in place.
Like what would happen is like when you sever your skin retracts because it's being tensioned right now. Yeah. Like there would be no like thin line connecting.
It's like if you cut a rubber band.
Yeah,
it falls apart.
Yeah, like it's cool.
It makes the joke.
Yeah,
of it, but like. They could have just had him, like, the gag where maybe his throat's slit and he turns him around or, like, stabbed or something. But, like, the head... And this happens a lot in horror films. The false decapitation gag or whatever. Yeah. And I never really get why they do that other than the fun moment.
I think it's just, like, one of those tropes now.
Yeah, it's like when you see him just standing there, we know he's dead. Like, we're already like, yeah, he's dead. We get it. But, I don't know. Again, it's just a nitpick. You have to find, when you're doing it in depth, you have to find the things to talk about.
And then this is Blue Ball number 1 with Mitch.
Yeah, because it's just like the VP. Like you think he's dead, but he's not dead till later.
Yeah.
Because he gets hit and you're like, oh, he's dead, but then he shows.
It's just with Mitch. I call it Blue Ball because I just wanted him to die.
Which we get a payoff to it though.
Yeah, we do. Which I like how they just... I mean, I guess they give me that ooh moment, like, a few times.
And then Beth is talking about, like... Austin's like, oh, you were so cool for Dad died, now you're just scared all the time. And she's like, I couldn't save him from whatever he died from.
They don't ever kind of hint to that at all.
Which I assume it was some sort of illness.
I mean, it's something that she couldn't have saved. Like, what was her, like, previous profession? Was she, like, a freaking...
doesn't say.
Hitman? Assassin.
Were they in Jaws or something?
Assassin Beth.
It was like Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Like it's in any case, I'm guessing that it's probably more likely just an illness. Just because like.
But again, what were you gonna do? Cure cancer? Yeah.
I couldn't cure cancer in the 3 months he had left. Like, no, duh. Sorry, it sucks, man.
Right. Like,
I'm pretty sure everyone could probably feel.
Because that's like her arc, is that she's afraid and then isn't afraid anymore, but it's like a flip of the switch that change. It's not a gradual thing.
Yeah, I think it's right when she sees Austin in danger.
Yeah, which we'll talk about in a minute.
Yeah.
So they find the burnt dadager, like the banana splits.
Yeah.
So everybody gets together.
Which was a little chuckle where they're for me. It's like, the banana splits.
The banana splits, burnt my face.
Like a little bit, it was a little chuckle.
I was just trying to make my daughter a star. And Flegel takes Zoe Harley to the pin with the child star chick. It's like this cage in Carl's shop. Yeah. And Carl does that like, the show must go on. They can't be stopped.
Yeah, he's like
they're my babies.
He's like wrapping up because he two of his fingers like chopped off his like index and middle finger.
Because he tried to get him to stop.
Yeah, and they
didn't stop.
Yeah, just kind of like just cha-cha.
But again, it's like with Carl, I don't ever really know if he's supposed to be like he loves them, but he's trying to stop them, or he's trying to help them.
Like I think at first he was trying to stop them, and then he was like, I can't let you go, kids. Like there's no helping you. And then they talk him into it, so he tries to get the keys and tries to get him in there. Right. But that's when, one of the animatronics comes in. Drooper comes in because the one that Beth knocked over the edge.
Beth, because there's a scene where they go to Bingo's jungle.
Yeah.
And Bingo takes Austin up, and then Beth goes full Sarah Connor. Strips off this overshirt to reveal the red tech for no reason.
I think it was just for the... the enhanced boob jiggle up the stairs.
Because, like, every badass female's got to wear a tank top.
Yeah. I mean, cool, I guess.
So, she's wearing the red tank top now, and she throws Bingo off the balcony, and his arm rips off and crashes to the floor. So they bring Bingo to get repaired.
I was just like, that was so badass. It's like, hell yeah, it was.
It was, but again, it's like... She's like, oh, I'm afraid to let people die. Then she's like, boom! No fear.
Immediate Rambo.
Yeah. And I was just like, did we really need to go all in?
I mean, can you really go half in?
Yeah, I mean, again, I understand for the parameters of this film. But, like, you could have made a little more gradual. Like, she sees it, she struggles with it for a minute, then she springs into action. But she's not, like, an action star. She's just a mom.
Perhaps
again, like what was her profession?
Perhaps maybe like if Austin were to be like injured in some way, perhaps like he like loses a finger
or something.
Yeah,
like him calling and she slowly comes into it.
Yeah.
But no, it's like boom, got him. Boom, I'm there and a badass and it's over. Yeah. Like very fast. Yeah. Which it should be. When you hit that first kill, the movie should keep a pace. You should never slow down. But we could have just taken, I don't know, like 20 seconds to really kind of live in that moment, I think. But
because it was pretty instantaneous.
Yes.
Like there was even a zoom on her.
Yeah. and also she rips away the shirt for the undershirt, which doesn't make any sense. Yeah. It'd be different if she was like caught up in something.
Like they tried to do that, but it looked like just like a small like you could just pull it.
Yeah.
Like she obviously took it off.
Like, oh, I got to take off my mom's shirt. Now I got my Sigourney Weaver undershirt.
It's kind of like when the kids are pushing Carl into the cage. You can obviously kind of tell he's kind of just walking in.
But they're children. You could just push them back. I guess they did kind of stab him in the head.
Yeah.
And he's dealing with that injury, I guess. But still, you're a grown man, and these are three under prepubescent children. Mm-hmm. You should be able to just fuck out of here.
Which really, I think that's what really settled in. Like upon seeing like
them babies are like wolves when you get them together. Had to murder them.
Upon seeing the animatronic super damaged, it's like my child, and then getting smacked in the head with a hot piece of metal by a kid, and then getting locked in the cage by said kids. He's probably pretty mad. And then he's bad. Now he's on bad side, even though he can't do anything.
But he just kind of sits in there for the rest of the time.
Like he was only like quote unquote good for like maybe 20 seconds.
And then Flegel finds Burnt Dadager and the producer.
Oh yeah.
Breaks her hand, which was very cringy.
Yeah, like just squeeze.
Like pulls it back.
Yeah, and it's like. Ugh.
And so they're sent to do sloppy time. Which we did establish earlier. So now it's like we had a brightly lit normal version of that. Now we're gonna do a very dark, demented version of that.
Yeah, like even the lighting is like super dim now. Like everything is just.
And I think it's Drooper who's throwing the pies and he's laughing and it's like very maniacal. And so they go through the motion. She falls on her broken hand also, and I'm like, oh
yeah. It's like imagine that you had your fingers outstretched and you fall with all your weight on top of them.
And it's like, oh.
And they bend in not the right way.
Yeah.
Every single one of them. And you put all your weight on that, and the sound really
drove
home
it
to me. And I just kind of gripped my hand a bit, making sure it's still okay.
Because I watched this movie 3 times, so I had to hit that 3 times.
And when Dadiger gets back to the kid, because he gets up top first.
Yep. And then she's like, "Where's the blue key?" And then Flegel has the blue key and stabs the dad in the back, exposes some spine.
Just twists all his like little spinal columns around.
And then goes, "It's time to fly," and throws him off the balcony onto the ground.
And then just kind of flicks over the key, like ding.
Yep. So then the chick jumps in the ball pit and she's like, "I won!" And then Flegel's holding the hammer. And she's like, "Oh no, the hammer!" And he whacks her in the face, smashes her head open. Yeah. And she was also the one that introduced the hammer to start, because she was like, "We need a giant hammer. This is a normal hammer." And then that, ironically, then was her death. So again, another sense of setting something up for later. Yeah. There were some really good writing bits in this, and there were some not so good writing bits in this. So the kids find Snorky, who again, even after they went with Drooper and he locked him in a cage, they just follow Snorky.
Yeah, and it's Harley. He's like, "We can trust him.
He's my favorite." Which again, that's not how it works.
Like he takes them to the absolute worst place to be. Okay.
Yeah, because they get taken with the other kids for the demented banana split show.
Yeah,
but again, you followed one and bad things happen, so you're gonna follow another one, thinking it's gonna be different.
And he's endangering the people around him too. He's endangering the other 2 kids. He's endangering Zoe.
But they should have just left him there.
Yeah.
But instead, they actually do follow. So these kids are not very bright.
No.
If they were actually in danger, they would have been murdered.
Definitely, 100%.
Then Paige is chased by Drooper, which was like, because he comes out of nowhere, and it's like doing that like fast walk thing. So that was a little creepy. That was an instant decent thing. And she hides in the ball pit, finds the body of the producer, and then Austin finds her, and then so she teams up with them. They go to find Carl, who just taunts them like, "You can't stop them." And they go down a chute, and Poppy stays behind, and she finds what he was going to have as the fifth split named Hootie.
Yeah, the sister.
Which has the sharpest claws for an animatronic. Yeah. And so she puts on the claws in the Hootie face and kills him because he's responsible for
and let's just say, like, she puts on one claw and then grabs a hammer with the other one, comes up and just no effort slaps.
And it sparks.
The chains and a thick chain and a
padlock.
And a thick padlock just off this door. Just no effort swing this hammer.
It is the God hammer.
And
Thor's hammer.
Yeah, this is Mjolnir. She immediately became worthy when she became like fueled by bloodlust. And then
this social media influencer wrecked a padlock with a hammer.
Yeah, and then like that was a pretty cool little blood splatter effect.
That was a nice little thing there. And like he's killed by one of his creations technically, which is
like, so, I mean, he kind of deserves
there's some irony there.
Yeah, he kind of deserves it, I think. So a little bit. A little creepo.
So then we see where the kids are being held, and they basically have a more fucked up version of the Banana Split show in the basement. So it's now like darkly lit and super creepy. It's like a boiler room. Yeah,
they're like using the dead body of Stevie.
Yeah, they just set it on fire because the mail time gag is now done with flames.
Yeah, it's a big old flamethrower now. Great.
He's like, "It's Stevie," and he's still got the lollipop jammed down his throat, and all these kids are screaming. These kids are scarred.
Yeah.
None of our main kids are, but these kids are, and plus their parents are dead too.
Yeah.
That's part of it.
Well, at least one. No, some of them.
All the other adults were dead.
Yeah,
so all these kids are orphans.
Manager's mom
is alive, but she wasn't there at the show. She just picked her up.
Yeah. But everyone else is probably...
everybody else is an orphan.
Yeah, everyone else is an orphan.
And that never gets brought up.
Nope.
And all these kids
just don't think
lost
about
their
that.
parents.
So we just think about that.
So they do the show, and they have the VP on a wheel. And usually lands on Rockout, but it lands on Banana Split. And they rip all of his limbs off like the Black Knight in Monty Python.
That was great.
It was a pretty cool death, and a death that he deserved because he was the dickhole.
Yeah, and then like Zoe's asking Harley, it's like, what happens to Banana Split? It's like, I don't know.
Always lands on Rockout.
Yeah, always lands on Rockout. Like, oh no. And then Beth's like, don't watch this, kids. Shut your eyes. Don't watch it.
And then Snorky like gives them the keys to get out. So I guess
Snorky has like this little redemption arc thing, kinda.
But why?
I think maybe he took the kids there and gave them the keys in order to free all the kids.
But why was Snorky good? I know it's because it's his favorite, but like literally for the plot wise, why did Snorky change? Because of the goodness of the children? I don't.
Like it's because of Harley's
little
dance.
The Snorky Shuffle. All we had to do is the Snorky Shuffle.
The Snorky Shuffle is the key to enlightenment, and it enlightened this robot to not murder kids, but to set them free.
Yeah.
So that they can
go
be orphans. So the kids escape,
and the mom beats Fleagle with a wrench, so exposes more of the robot phase.
Yeah, which is pretty.
And then
cool.
Drooper chokes a bitch.
Oh yeah.
Gets her good.
And mistake number one, you don't throw them. You just crush the neck. You crush the windpipe.
You just threw her down.
Just throw them.
So then Austin comes in and stabs Fleagle in the head with the crowbar. Kills Fleagle.
Mm-hmm. Which like there's always this like white fluid effect that comes from the animatronics.
I guess it's the coolant or what, the something that like the kind of like the oil, I guess, that runs the machines. Because you see this a lot in like robot tech.
Yeah.
This little liquid kind of stuff.
Yeah, because like there's like even like an effect with like a robot heart later on.
Yeah, which we'll talk about that. I actually do want to talk about that. So and then Drooper drops both of them, but then the mom gets the extendo staff from earlier and puts it through Drooper's head and kills him there.
Yeah,
and
more liquid.
Yeah, more or less, more liquid. Which again, super dangerous toy for a child.
Yeah, if it can go through metal like that, don't give it to a kid, please.
Yeah. And it makes like that shink noise every time. Like that's some sharp shit, man.
Indeed.
And then Bingo goes to attack the kids, and Snorky and Bingo get into a fight where Snorky like breaks its neck, and Bingo rips out Snorky's heart, which is shaped like a human heart.
Yeah. And there's a heartbeat.
And it's why? Like if they really are animatronics, they wouldn't have just metal versions of organs. It would be just a sequence of circuitry and wiring.
And like and this is when they completely forgo like robotic movements when they go into the fight.
Yeah, now because these are stunt guys now, not the dancers. Yeah. And so they are actually just fighting.
Yeah. So like, and it's funny to watch. It really is, because now it just doesn't look like robots anymore. It just looks like people.
The guys in suits beating each other up.
Yeah, and then like they do the heart grab, pull out, and then the
fatality,
and then they crushes his head, and like Trunky crushes his head.
And then so all the orphans are now free. I don't know who took these orphans home. I guess they're in the ambulance. I'm not entirely sure what happened.
But
there's all these kids, dead parents. And the girl's totally cool with losing her dad. Was just like, can I stop acting? And her mom's like, of course.
Yeah. Austin gets hooked up with Paige.
They get some action. Mm-hmm.
Zoe is now friends with Harley.
Yes, which I guess really she should be like, I'm never hanging out with this guy again. The one time I hung out with him, I was almost murdered.
It's a rough time.
Mom leaves Mitch and punches him in the face.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And then everyone they leave Mitch.
Yeah. Mitch is running after.
He's like, I'm injured.
Yeah, and then we get the final release of Mitch,
where Poppy is dressed like Hootie, driving all the Banana Splits carcasses around and hits Mitch.
Yeah, and explodes. And there's all this.
So as he said, would be an embarrassing way to die is the way he died. Mm-hmm. So more irony set up earlier in the film.
Great.
And then that's the Banana Splits. Which some more fun facts before we wrap this bitch up. So I don't know how. This is the first R-rated Hanna-Barbera adaptation. So until we get that dark version of the Jetsons, this is what we got to work with.
Oof.
And this was originally a Five Nights at Freddy's script.
I can see that.
That the rights were messed up, so they repurposed it to Banana Splits because they could get that. So I prefer this. I'm not a big Five Nights at Freddy's fan.
Yeah, I feel like that would have just kind of like just fallen into like that niche thing.
Yeah, like this is a little more creative. I like what they did with this.
And like doing a Five Nights at Freddy's thing, like if you do like all that bloody stuff, like it's gonna separate itself from the games. Like the games, like they're scary and stuff, but they don't have gore.
And apparently, the band The Monkees were regularly on the Banana Split show, and so Austin's character is dressed like the lead guy from The Monkees. Like his whole outfit is what that guy would wear in a regular.
Okay.
So that's interesting. And then a couple of people that were from other films. So the guy who played Thad, his name is Kirishin Naidoo. He's from Tremors 6. I have not seen Tremors 6.
I think I've watched all the Tremors movies.
The producer, played by Sarah Koenig, was in War for the Planet of the Apes.
Mm.
And Beth, played by Danny Kine from the Winona Earp television show. So, again, obviously people from this movie have not, this is still early in their film. Like Stevie, this is his only film, and he needs to do more movies.
Yeah,
I loved his character.
You said it came out 2019?
Yeah, this is still fairly new, and a lot of people have their start in horror.
So they're probably in another project right now. It could be.
Which there's talks there's going to be a Banana Splits 2.
Ooh.
Which could be by the same director and have a couple of the same characters. I personally don't know what the direction is. I guess Poppy's gonna rebuild them.
But why?
But how are they gonna get another show?
Why would she do that? She's probably. I thought she would be scarred and would want them destroyed.
Well, she picked all their bodies up and was driving them around.
I know, but
and we see Fleagle's eye light up still, so he's still alive.
But he's a robot.
So again, I'm not sure what the direction would be for the sequel, but I'm not opposed to it. In a world where we get sequels for dumb shit, why not have a Banana Splits too?
I feel like I really don't need
an
explanation. Really, for me.
Just to do another one?
Yeah.
Like I just don't know what the concept would be. Like what are we gonna do with this now? Like, because there can't be another show. Why would they make another show?
I could say
after all these people got murdered.
I could say something like. Let's say Poppy keeps him, because she can't separate herself from him, okay? But she hates him, but she has to have him.
Kind of like Jeepers Creepers, where they keep it locked up and they get out and start kidnapping kids.
Like her kids, her kids find him.
Oh, so she has kids with who?
I don't fucking know. I don't know. She just gets another dude.
So make like Mad Max is post-apocalyptic world with these kids dressed up.
She gets kids, okay? And
she kidnaps children.
They find them, and they're like, oh, we can make some good money with these, and they set them, and they hire someone to fix them all up and set them up to run like fucking kids' birthday parties, and then they fuck up at a kid's birthday party.
Okay, so if it was a kid's birthday, maybe like they're repurposed as like attractions or even a theme park.
Yeah.
If they were actually put at a theme park, who knows? I guess there is directions this could go in, and also sequels for movies don't always explain everything either.
And also that'd be a long shot.
So that concludes our discussion of the Banana Split. Stay tuned to the next Film Vomit, where DJ and I will be talking about Bionicle: The Mask of Light, and then following that, me and Cole will be discussing, I believe, Happy Birthday to Me. So there will be plenty more Film Vomit podcasts to come, and also check out Reality Vomit and Syndicated Vomit every single day, because I have no personal life, and this is what I do.
Awesome.
So until next time, stay safe, stay nerdy.